Welcome to Paranormal Investigators of New England, and we have another paranormal story for you today. And we have with us Chris Chapman. She resides in Vermont, and she has a incredible story from Gettysburg. And Chris, I'd like to say hello and welcome to our video. And please do go ahead and tell us what happened.
Thank you, Betty. I've wanted to share this for a long time because it really impacted me and still has impacted me what, what happened. In 2017, my son decided to move back home from Kentucky. And for him and I, one of our most favorite things to do has always been, since he was little, go to Gettysburg. And we go around and we see where the Vermont people were and this group or the New Hampshire people. And we just kind of, we don't reenact the battle, if you will, but we kind of say, oh, who was here, who was there, blah, blah, blah. So we went into Gettysburg and it was about mid-May. And there was not very many people at all in the park when we came in. A few people, I think we may have seen three or four cars. And one of the places that we have visited a number of times is Little Round Top. So we pulled over there, and there was a couple people coming down the path, and they left. And so we said, oh, well, there's nobody up there. We'll go up to Little Round Top. So we climbed up to the top and we started looking around. And if you've been up to Little Round Top, it's kind of a little flattish area, and it's got trees down where the soldiers laid behind and kind of bulwarks and shot from and so forth. And we were walking around and we were talking about different positions where they would have been at. And we went over to one side where you can look down into Devil's Den. And Devil's Den was one of the places where there was a severe battle. And I think by the time it was done, there was 1,800 people killed, 1,800 soldiers killed within Devil's Den. And I just was standing there and I felt very overwhelmed by what it must have been like for the soldiers at the top of Little Round Top, just shooting down into these people. And I said it out loud. I said, wow, this must have been awful. And I felt a hand on my shoulder and a big sigh of yes. And I thought it was my son, Brian. And I turned to say something to him, and he was all the way across the other side of Little Round Top. It was not Brian. And I just felt this overwhelming presence of a man standing there with this feeling of horror at what was happening. And
And,
then it went
and you
away.
felt that hand, the pressure of the hand.
Hand squeezed my shoulder like that. Definitely. There was no doubt in my mind. It was a hand on my shoulder. And when it squeezed, it said, yeah. It was right there in my ear. I get chills thinking
Uh,
again now. It's probably the first time I've ever had a confirmation, if you will. We've been there many times and we've felt things. We've felt coldness in some places. We've had feelings, but I've always dismissed them as just, oh, the excitement of war, seeing this and talking about this and so on and
right.
so forth. But this was different. This was definitely someone who I thought was asking for compassion at the horror they saw,
Yeah.
or agreeing with me that it was a horror. And it changed me. And I want to go back, and I
Mm,
want to um, not necessarily experience it again, but just let this person know it's okay.
mhm.
It was war. We've gone to a number of other places in around Gettysburg, and like I said, we felt different things, but we always put them down to just, um, I don't know, just us being excited. But this was definitely a different experience.
And I wonder if it was because of the emotional state you were in, that had you have been nonchalant or whatever, and didn't really feel it that deeply, but even still said it, if you would have gotten that confirmation, you know,
Yeah,
if it if it's something that can feel your emotions like that.
yeah.
Um,
I was feeling very, as I was, because I think it's the first time in all the times we visited that I stood there, looked down on it, and had actually read through about Devil's Den and
mm,
read through about Little Round Top. And it was just a sense in me that oh my gosh, this was a shooting gallery. This must have been horrible for these men up here. As much as it was for those men dying down there, these men are shooting them, and they know these guys down there have no chance because they can see them and shoot them. And it just was this feeling in me that was overwhelming horror of it, but yet a compassion at what was happening. And when I was feeling that was when the hand went on my shoulder, and I said that out loud, and the sigh and the yes.
I can feel the emotion just even as you're describing it,
Yeah.
I can see it in you
Yeah. I
that's an
told
amazing
I told my
story.
son Brian, I turned and I walked over to him and I said, "You won't believe what just happened to me." And I told him what happened. He said, "All right, let's go off Little Round Top, Mom." And so we left because it scared him, I
Hmm.
think. Um, it's funny, it's strange because it did not scare me. It
Mm.
did it
And
did the emotions I felt was not uncomfortable and not scared. It was more, wow, this was different. This was an energy reaching out, wanting some compassion. That's just what I felt it was.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So maybe you have some sensitivity too
Uh-huh.
to or the paranormal or just spirits, I guess. Uh, Maybe to let that come through like that too, that feeling. Well,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Hear a lot of stories from Gettysburg, and a lot of them are just, more or less apparition, seeing an apparition, that, but that was really personal.
It was very personal. Yes.
Hmm,
Yeah. There was no doubt it was a hand on my shoulder because it squeezed. And like I say, it was so strong, I thought it was my son, Brian.
that's
I
great.
realized he was all the way across the ridge.
That
So,
must have been overwhelming. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for joining us and telling us that story. And so, when viewers, a lot of people go to Gettysburg. We go almost every year as a team,
mhm.
and it makes you want to go back and try and feel that same feeling because
Yeah, I
it
think
is a sad story, and a lot of them are nothing more than kids themselves. That what we, of course, we as older people now think of as kids, you know. But so
I wonder if you have to go alone and feel the feeling. I wonder if whoever it was doesn't express himself when there's a lot of people and noise and everything else going on. Because I was alone and I just was standing there and just letting the feelings happen.
yeah, it could very well be.
Mhm. I want to know. I want to go back and see.
That's amazing. Well, thank you. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Chris, for sharing that. I appreciate it. And if there are any viewers out there that would like to tell this story, could be UFO, it could be um, paranormal in the way of ghosts and spirits, or even Bigfoot. We'd love to chat about it and do an interview. So you can contact me at footsteps802 at gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.